Hello, all you joy-filled Christian mystics. It's great to see you all again. Although I see none of you, but you see me. I don't know. That was a rough beginning. But hey, we're jumping on here live. I'm here with my wife and editor-in-chief of a new book I'm writing called The Christian Mystic. I actually wrote up something really cool about it. Let's see what I wrote here. Daniel Lovett had a divine visitation by the Lord Jesus Christ in 1998. Jesus floated into his room while I misspelled wow.
Ooh.
Ooh, good catch, Daniel. While he
I
was
did not edit this part. Just let that be known.
while
I'm going to lose my job.
while he was praying and commissioned him with his calling to show people what he was really like. The book Christian Mystic pulls together many amazing stories of Jesus encounters, happy theology, and spiritual practices that will fuel this next great awakening. I am super excited about this. So this has been in the works for several years, actually. Particularly a little over a year ago, the serious plans got underway to like pull together the book. My wife is invaluable. She is an amazing editor. This book would not have been. You made it twice as nice.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what do you think about it?
I think it's true. I did make it twice as nice.
She's really humble too. She's just the most humble
Oh,
woman.
um, no, I think it's been a long time coming. He's been wanting to write this book. That's kind of why this page was even started. The group, Christian Mystic, all of it was kind of themed around the idea of, writing the book and publishing it. And I think there are people on this page who are contributors to the book,
That's true too.
and will be a part of it. So it's more than just a book that you're writing, right? Tell them about that.
Right. It's not just about me, obviously. It's a community effort. It pulls in stories of a lot of people I've met and interviewed on my radio show. I call it a radio show. That sounds more official than just podcast, but it's Sozo Talk Radio, uh, video podcast on YouTube. It goes out to a lot of various podcast outlets and things. But people I've met over the years who've had wonderful encounters with Jesus. One actually surprised me. I was interviewing Brian Simmons, who did the Passion Translation, who's still working on it, the Passion Translation, and I didn't know anything about him. I should have done my homework before
Yeah,
interviewing him. I really didn't. I was just like, well,
that's a
Lord,
very pleasant
let's
surprise.
just see what happens here. And I just had a list of topics that I wanted to talk about, and I started chatting with him, and I told him, what I had in mind, and he says, "Oh, good, all my favorite topics," and it was amazing. It was one of my best interviews I've ever had. It was totally spirit led. In fact, I have another very spirit led interview that I did with him, um,
Yeah, you got to get that published.
which I will. It was maybe almost a month ago, even that I interviewed him, which I haven't published yet, mainly because I wanted to, in the intro of it, share the fact that I had a book sample to download, which now I do. So
So
that's exciting.
so the point is that the book is not just your writings or your thoughts, but it's
No.
um
It includes stories of people having real visceral encounters with Jesus, like I just described, like Jesus floated through the wall of my room, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Jesus," and just had an amazing experience. So the
can I
book talks about that.
can I give them a preview? One person who used his encounter with, I love like the way he starts his encounter and just like the thing talks about how he met Jesus and then talks about a real time where like Jesus walked into the room and he really was in the presence of like, the Shekinah glory. And it was the kind of like experience where you're like, oh my gosh. And then you fall on your face and just cry for 3 hours because it was so intense and amazing and wonderful. And he assumed that every time somebody said they met Jesus, that that's what they meant. They met Jesus because he met Jesus. And he had no idea for years that other people were just using it as a figure of speech. Oh, yeah, I met Jesus. But, like, no, literally, did you actually really have like an encounter with him? Some might call that a vision or an open vision or other things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But anyway, I just thought, so it's things like that, it's people like that who have had those kind of experiences who are sharing that and their stories, and like that's my favorite part of the book. I don't want you to
Well,
be
it
offended by that,
is. I
but
mean, stories,
yeah, it's
because
just
you connect with them, and it's like you vicariously experience meeting Jesus through these stories, and there's loads of them throughout the whole book.
yeah, the stories are the best part. They're beautiful. And I mean, it's amazing that these people like trusted some of their most precious encounters, some of their most precious memories. Like if you've ever had an encounter like that, like that is one of the most precious things to you. So to share that with the world can sometimes be a little scary. So, I think it's just really amazing that all of these people entrusted that um, to you,
Yeah.
and are willing to put that in there, and reading those, it's like reading something precious, when somebody's telling you something like, hey, this is an encounter I had with Jesus, this is what he said to me, this were his words. I think that's huge. So um one of the big contributors, or someone who's allowed us to share that encounters, was Brian Simmons, which is kind of one of the more well-known names, I guess, that's going to
Yeah.
be contributing to the book. And so his encounter in there is part of the free download. Did you talk about that yet?
Yeah. Free download. You can click on the link in the description. I'm sure yeah, it's there. I'll also put it in the chat and,
So if you've
make
ever
sure.
been involved in music things, it's similar to that idea where we're just giving away like a sample of the book. So a couple of the first chapters, so you can get an idea of what the book is kind of like, and get to read a few of the stories. And in exchange for what, your email address?
Just an email address.
Yeah, so you give us your email address, and then you get to read a couple of the chapters of the book.
4 to be specific,
All
4
right.
chapters.
4 chapters. And then when the book is finished, we'll email you and let you know
Yeah.
so you can finish the story.
Yeah. Yeah. And besides which, I mean, for those who are connected on the Christian Mystic Facebook page, you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff first, and like even what I'm currently like researching and stuff that's been inspiring me. Recently, I just shared a couple of videos on there. By the way, if you're not connected to it yet, it's at facebook.com/ the mystical Christian. And yeah, I just shared some amazing testimonies from Nancy Cohen. She's like one of my new heroes. I mean, it's just amazing how she's just so filled with Jesus. She even raised somebody from the dead when these enemies to the gospel came to taunt her by bringing her a corpse of a little boy, saying, "See, Christ has no power," and dumps the body at her feet and stuff, and trying to make a scene. Well, that little boy was raised from the dead.
Oh,
So Nancy Cohen, she's amazing. I include some of her inspiring stories in the book as well. Um, yeah. So this is the kind of rich content that I'm bringing on the Christian Mystic and through this book too. It's uh, it's really going to serve our awakening. It's really helped me. Like the last chapter that I wrote, which basically explained the whole concept of Christian Mystic. I labored over that one for like a whole week. I'm just like,
or a month.
or a month even. It was just a beast, and because the way my mind works, yeah, it's like a labyrinth. It is a labyrinth sometimes.
It's more like rabbit
Rabbit Trail
trails.
Labyrinth, like the one in The Shining.
I've never seen that movie, but it used to
Yes.
be he was going to write a book. Can I say this?
Hmm.
He was going to write a book called Rabbit Trails with Daniel Lovett,
Yeah.
because that is kind of how he thinks. Like it's just one thing leads to the next. Like, have you ever played those games where you have to like start the next line with the end of the last word? Like Daniel would be excellent at that, because that's sometimes like how he thinks. Oh, this leads to that, and then that leads to this, and then suddenly you're lost in the woods and you're like, how did we get here? So
This is why I have this lovely editor right here. And it was hard to even trust that chapter to her because I'm like, oh my gosh.
I
But then
think
when I did, I was grateful. I'm
I
like,
think that's
okay,
why.
the problem lies with me.
Mhm.
Editor, I'm submitting it to you. And she did awesome.
Humbly speaking, I do think that's why it took you a week. I think it took him a week just to like work up the courage to be like, okay, here, I will let you
Yeah.
help me edit this, because you didn't really want me to at first. It was hard
Uh,
to.
And but here's a policy that we do. We're like, we'll copy and paste stuff that doesn't fit,
This is
and we'll put
funny.
it in the extended features part
You
of the
know how,
book.
like, Lord of the Rings is already a super long movie, but then you can buy the extended edition, which is, like, another 3 hours of content or something ridiculous like that? That's, like, what Daniel does to make himself feel better whenever I'm like, "Okay, this doesn't fit the central point, like, this is a good thing, but not quite right for this chapter."
Uh,
He'll be like, "Okay, we'll put that in the extended edition," and
which
so
nobody will ever see.
we copy and paste and then put it over here in the notes, and then we just say, "Yep, extended edition," and it
Yep.
helps him to
Helps
know.
me to cope
Mhm.
with, but that stuff will come out eventually somewhere. I'm not done writing. I mean, really see this as my career path. I would say that. I'm gonna say that more boldly. It is my career path. It's something I've been studying for years and practicing,
Maybe
and
one of them,
one of them. Of
'cause
course,
that
music is another.
yes,
Hello, we're
so
getting to the next topic.
so the other reason I'm here too is because, the other thing we're working on this month, and we will be working on every month throughout 2020, is we're, working on releasing some more songs. So for those of you that don't know, like, on the Christian Mystic page, Daniel and I have a music group. Our group name, I guess, is called Reflect Worship, and you can find our Facebook page just at that, Reflect Worship. But anyway, we singer songwriters. We write some songs. We've got albums and all that kind of stuff. But it's kind of been on the back burner, honestly, for the last year or two. So we decided in 2020, like, hey, we've had some good songs that we've written recently, like in 2019, and God's been doing some cool stuff in us, and maybe we should start releasing these to the world again. So we're gonna start releasing a song a month. Yeah, this whole year. So we missed January because we were late to the, like, New Year's resolution ideas, but
Yeah.
we had one out in February called Safe Place. It's a great song, just about finding your safe place with Jesus and resting in Him. And then the one we released today, March 1st, is called Home. And we're really excited about it. I think it's one of our best songs ever. Definitely inspired by heaven, maybe by angels. You want to tell the story? It's not too
Yeah,
long.
it's really cool. My daughter, 6 years old, she just turned 7
Our daughter.
today. Our daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, our daughter, Emma, came up to me one night before bed and said, "Papa, I got a song on my mind." And she starts singing these lines, the opening lines of the song. And I was like, "Oh my gosh," I was awestruck because it was just so good. I was
Mhm.
like, I had to sit down right then and write out the rest of the song. Catherine got involved. She wrote the second chorus. We worked on the bridge together. Um, it turned out really well. And it's inspired by this idea, I think, of like the prodigal, away from home, feeling bereft, out of place, like they don't fit or belong. But then we come home to the Father, and we're
Mm,
home. We're home at long last, restored to the family with our Father who loves us, our loving heavenly Papa, as I like to say, you know.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
so give it a listen. Yeah, seriously, our 6-year-old walked up, sang those first 2 lines, and we kept them just like she sang them,
exactly,
lyrics and melody, and then the rest of it, yeah, we put the kids to bed and just sat down and wrote it all out. We're like, "Hey, this is actually really good. We like this." So, yeah, we were super excited to record it and add some cool creative touches and, share it with the world. So give it a listen. I think you'll like it.
absolutely.
So it's been a busy month for us, busy February. We had those 2, big projects. He wanted to get the first couple chapters of the
Mhm.
book out for you guys to preview. And
Yes,
we had the song that we wanted to release too. So you should definitely stay connected to these pages and see what's up because we've got more stuff coming, right? You got the rest of the book
absolutely.
we're going to work on and another a song every month for 2020 that you can listen to for free and share with all your friends.
That's right. Yeah, it'll be great. We're gonna have a good time with that. I look forward to, like, I'm having so much fun in the studio too. There's just such creative things and ideas that come, and yeah, how it came together. You gotta hear it. So there you go.
Yeah, so check out the Christian Mystic book and um, first couple chapters. It's got some really cool stories, and some good, yeah, kind of good setup for where the book is going, kind of giving you an idea about that. Um, and take a listen to our song Home.
Yeah, that's it. That's
All
it
right.
for us. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening or whatever time it is when you're watching this.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.